Ag Week Weather is sponsored by Bremer Bank. Connect with a banker today at bremer.com.
Can we expect pleasant weather for Mother's Day weekend? Here's John with our Agri-weather outlook.
Weather pattern for the mid and latter part of May is looking like it's changing again. What's new with the weather? Something is always changing, right? We are setting up for some pretty nice May weather in general across the United States. We're seeing things warming up. Cold weather is really on the retreat. There are a couple of spots around the country that will have some cool weather and a couple of spots that'll show some heat. I mean, May is nearly June, right? So there are going to be some places that get hot. But overall, it's pretty nice May weather. In general, precipitation is going to backward a little bit. Not quite as much. Not so rainy, not quite so stormy as it's been over April and the first part of May. So some welcome relief from that. I am again showing three parts of the jet stream. The primary one, really the polar jet stream, is this middle branch. And, you know, there's flow everywhere, so I'm really just kind of highlighting the highlights. The southern subtropical jet is really fairly weak this time of year. I just put it on in case you have curiosity about it. And there is a split in the northern jet, so that there's a northern component, which this particular pattern is not really having a lot of impact, except that it will deliver some cold weather to the eastern Canadian Maritimes this week. Jet stream is dominated by ridging over the northwest part of the continent. By that I mean we're going to see this warm air expanding, going to see a lot of snow melting in the Rockies and in the Sierras and in California, and it's just going to be like that. We're not going to see particularly hot weather in the northern plains, just mild to warm, as the flow is generally going to be northerly in the upper atmosphere. The deep south is beginning to heat up from Texas across to Florida and the Carolinas, and there will occasionally be some surges northward, but nothing too far north. This Manitoba, Ontario, Saskatchewan hot weather is near hot, some 80s. That's really fairly typical in May, and then in June this area typically will begin to cool down unless there's a continuation of the ridge. And temporarily this week, some pretty warm weather is flying up into the Pacific Northwest. That'll be temporary as low pressure begins to build southward. As we look at the second week here, we will actually begin to see that happening. Cooler weather will drop into the Pacific Northwest. The northern plains will stay mild to warm. The south will continue to be hot. And just the far northeast part of the United States, New England, will really have some cool weather. And that's going to be about the size of the shape of things. This week, other than some stray showers, most of the rain will be in the southern plains, where there will be some showers and thunderstorms. The second week here, which is effectively the last week of May, will start getting a little precip into the mountains of the Pacific Northwest. The Rockies will have some showers, maybe some stray higher elevation snows, and some thunder showers along the Gulf Coast, but a lot of the nation looking to be dry or mostly dry.